Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Lynn Serrano, and you are?
I'm the guy who still has the music going in his head. I'm Scott. It's very good to have everybody here. Welcome.
Well, welcome, Scott. I'm so glad we're here. Another Tuesday come by.
Another Tuesday. Today was one of those Tuesdays too that just like it flew by. I was busy. I was working. I'm tired, but it felt like it was morning, and then all of a sudden it was the end of the day. It just flew by. I love days like that,
Yeah,
except
I
for when
kind
they're Saturdays or Sundays. I don't like them on those days.
yeah, I kind of thought it was for some reason I thought it was like Wednesday already. Don't ask me why.
Oh,
And yet that's not a good thing because Wednesdays now I'm helping produce this little show. Helping produce that
Debbie
show.
show.
Yeah,
Yes.
Debbie's show. She's not gonna be here, but tomorrow she's gonna have this wonderful guy named Rex Sykes with us.
Rex Steven Sykes.
Yes. And how about
I've
that? He's right here.
he's
And we can see him
I thought
today.
he actually dozed off for a minute there. He was looking down. I'm like, oh, we lost him. We lost him. He was in the green room for 3 minutes. He fell asleep.
Yeah. Oh, hi Rex. Welcome to the show.
Hi, it's good to be here and nice to see that you're both awake.
Both awake. Both awake. Pumping the
Yes.
coffee in. Pumping the coffee
Yes,
in.
I was trying to promote. I'm having Walter McKinley, who did a Monsters in the Closet, or I might be messing up the title, but I'm having him on the show Thursday, my show, Live, Love, Laugh, and Let Go Out Loud. And he's been doing all the TV stations and interviews and, being all selling that book and everything. But I posted, oh, tomorrow on my show. And he goes, Lynn, am I messed up? We're Thursday, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I messed up. I had to go change the date that he's going to be on the show Thursday, not tomorrow.
All right. All
I've been
right.
off a day late, and today I had Ori Spado, and he's originally from Rome, New York, and he was a gangster.
Another upstater.
Yeah, yeah. So
He's a gangster.
he was reformed. Yeah, he's in
No,
Hollywood now. You'll have to watch that.
you don't get to be a reformed gangster. They don't let you out like that.
Oh yeah, well they did. Hi Sandra. I should send her a little copy. I don't know if she wants to come up or not, but yeah. So it was one of those things where I'm just disoriented today on my day, and
Yeah.
all these things going on. So
tomorrow night, Rex, you're on with Debbie.
Correct.
Excellent. Before that, it's 7:00. If you want a double dose of good stuff, tomorrow night at 7:00, I'm doing my first show with my ex. And the show is actually appropriately called The Exes. Can two people who separate still be friends?
Wow.
Can we still be friends? And Teresa and I figured it out, and she's one of my best friends in the world. And we still love each other. We still care about each other. We're still best friends in each other's lives. We're just not a good couple. And we'd love more people to find that. You can't spend 20 years with somebody, break up, and say everything was bad because there's good stuff out there, right? So check us out, 7:00 tomorrow night, and then flip right over after that at 8:00 to check out Find It with Debbie and Rex.
yeah, and I don't have a little introduction for this man, but when you hear his voice, you'll know he was here last week. Barry, welcome to the. Now, Rex,
Hi.
do you know Barry? Barry, Rex, Barry.
No, we've not met. Hi, Barry.
Oh, he's in Clubhouse as well. You'll have to come to Rex's room on the Clubhouse.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm going to do that.
That was disorienting.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Well, welcome, Barry. You want to tell everybody a little bit about you real quick?
Sure. I'm not sure where you started, where you are, where we're going. So
no, we just starting.
Just let people know who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm Barry Silby. That was easy. Okay, what else do you need?
Oh, there we go. We're done. We're done. Thank you.
You're a relationship coach, correct?
Yeah, I'm author and speaker and passionate devotee for healthy relationships.
There you go.
So, yeah, talking that, I said I've got a book out on it. I do Clubhouse rooms. I've got about 1,200 videos on YouTube because I got very addicted to Facebook Lives for about 3.5 years, and I saved onto YouTube for safekeeping. So a lot of talks up there. Basically talking to myself because this is solo videos.
Rex does the same thing. He talks to himself all the time and puts out lots of great content.
Did you
Well,
say
Barry,
I
you'd like my new
myself?
show tomorrow. Then it's called The X's, and it's talking about whether two people who separate can still be best friends, and that starts tomorrow night at 7:00. And
Oh,
me and
wow.
my ex are doing the show because we're best friends, and everybody says that's weird, and it should not be weird. We should
No,
be able to be friends with our exes.
I have a couple of exes I deeply love as friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too, though.
Yeah.
As
Scott
long as I'm
included,
not
but-
paying alimony, I'm fine with them.
I also have exes I'll never see again. I mean, frankly, and I was sharing about this on Clubhouse earlier, talking about how my last bad breakup, I absolutely, if I ever met her again, which is now 15, 16 years ago, I would thank her because it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. She actually was the
Catalyst.
yeah, catalyst better than inspiration. Catalyst for me to start doing this work.
That's a nice way of saying you messed me up so much I had to go get better. Thank
And
you.
no, I wasn't trying to say. No, I wasn't trying to say she was a cow. I was just saying, catalyst. So, anyways,
Well, good.
Excellent.
yeah. Well, you got to find your purpose somewhere. Since sometimes the people you're in or the things you're doing are the reason why you end up finding your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
So,
And having healthy relationships, even with your exes, is a pretty good thing to do as well, because then you don't have so much anger and upset and resentment against people.
well, my ex-boyfriend in Wisconsin, he never understood why I had a good friend and really good friends with my ex-boyfriend. He didn't understand that, but he's now my ex-boyfriend and we're good friends. So maybe now he's understanding it.
Well, now you find that position, now you know.
Well, it was weird because they both ended up being at my daughter's wedding. And it was like, I look over, I'm like, first I'm talking to my ex-sister-in-law. We were cordial. I look over, I'm like, current boyfriend with the old boyfriend. This is interesting. But, now they're my exes and, I get along with them. It's all good.
Yep.
So.
Cool.
Well, it doesn't work with all my exes. I mean, I got the one that I can't even mention her name legally. I can't mention her name. I can only use her name on the court document, which is Plaintiff A, who won the restraining order. That's the only way I can mention her by name. Yeah, it was, we had a real Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing going on there. Wow.
Yeah, so people in comments on that on Facebook have been
Which
saying
one of you were Johnny Depp and which one of you were Amber Heard?
What day of the week was it? Believe me, I go for equally crazy. That way, hey, listen, depending on which day of the week, one of us is going to be wrong. So,
well, can you imagine a world where, you turned on the TV set and people were doing wonderful things and helping each other and it's all filled with love? Or you turn on the TV and they're talking about pooping in someone's bed and doing crap and all this stuff and hating each other. I mean, and that's what fills our airwaves. That's what people watch. That's what people pay for. I mean, it's no surprise the world is the mess it is, given the stuff that we like to, fill our heads with.
thank you, Rex. Thank you very much. That's a great point. Why are we obsessed with this kind of stuff? Why are we obsessed with watching this? If you put two movies on in the same night, one channel you have the story of Mother Teresa, the other channel you've got the story of Charles Manson.
Yep.
Which one's going to get the larger audience?
Mother Manson.
Right.
Mother Teresa. What?
Mother Manson.
Mother Manson.
Mother Manson.
Yeah, wait. Another third show that says that Mother Teresa fathered or mother Manson.
Father is fine. Father is fine. It opens up a whole new area of.
Then they found all the evidence in a vault opened by Geraldo Rivera, and everybody was there to say, we are our own worst enemies because we're attracted to tragedy.
Yeah.
I consulted for the OJ trial, and I spent a year. I mean, I was doing live trainings for 12, 14 hours a day. I had to go home and watch videos. I had over 600 8-hour videos of this trial, and every night I'd have to watch it so that I could consult with attorneys who were then disseminating the information to CNN and CNBC and MSM, whatever was going on at the time. And so I spent a year of my life consulting, and I vowed at the time, because a lot of people made careers, and I found it a tragedy. I'm on the 9th floor of the circuit court building, and they wheeled Mrs. Simpson out, and they stopped and dropped her there. And at the 9th Circuit Court, I think the elevators face east, and then the courthouse faced north, if I remember right. And it was taped off so that the jurors could come through, and there would be a galley of people watching. And somebody deposited her out there with all these people, and people were saying he should burn, he's this and he's that. And I thought, how horrible for this mother who has to wonder, number one, if her son has done this or not, and family members were brutally, savagely killed. But she couldn't go anywhere. She had to sit there and just listen to these people commenting. And I thought, what a tragedy. So I made it a point. I was deep background. I did do some TV stuff, but I didn't want to make a career off of this thing. And some of these talking heads that you see today are famous as a result of that very trial back in 1994.
You messed up your limelight there, Rex.
What?
You ruined your limelight.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know. But I mean, I've consulted for other trials as well. But the point I'm trying to make is that trial occupied the attention of people for a year. Mm-hmm. And the people who were talking heads that if they were getting paid to be on all the shows, which they do because of the union laws and things like that, I mean, that's how careers were made. And I just refused to be a whole part of it. I said, I'm fine with deep background and I'm fine occasionally saying something, but I don't want to profit by somebody else's loss. Every family in that lost. Everybody in that lost. And sadly, on the one hand, it was an opportunity for people to see a courtroom trial. Sadly, it wasn't the everyday kind of courtroom trial that people had learned from. It was something. I mean, it's just amazing what our attention goes to.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's why sometimes I tune out. I mean, I know it's wrong, but I do tune out. I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to anything. Today was one of those days. I was training all day. I didn't want to be. So this morning, I didn't start with news. I just went right to music. I did all that. And now it turns out I get home and there's this tragedy now with 15 people killed at the school shooting. And this is now going to occupy our airways for a long time. And we're going to, we're addicted to it. We are addicted to tragedy. That's how else can the Kardashians be on so long? We're addicted to tragedy.
And their dad was in the OJ trial.
Yeah. I get his point exactly.
I'll tell you what, I solved the OJ. I solved the whole murder. It was the dog that lived at OJ's house. Cato, I think it was Cato's dog. That's the one who did it. Because what happened was the dog actually ran away from OJ's house with one of OJ's gloves.
Wait.
Just ran away.
I should have a banner that says exclusive right now.
This is exclusive. The dog went over to the Goldman or Nicole's house because that's where the dog knew where to go. And he found a stiletto knife laying in the street because, hey, it was LA. And he jumped over the fence and he saw Nicole and he ran up and he was so excited. He jumped up to dog thing and face and he stabbed her by accident. And then he got excited and he did the same thing to Goldman. And then the glove fell out of the dog's mouth because they had a knife and a glove. And as the dog fell down from the Goldman and the glove came out, the knife actually went down and the dog swallowed it. Now the dog's in pain. It's got a knife in his stomach. So it wants to run home, and it runs home and it sees OJ's Bronco and it puts its face up in the Bronco window to see if he's there. And a little bit of blood boogers came out of the dog's nose and landed inside the truck. That's how they got those. And I got a whole story. It all works. It all comes together, and it makes about as much sense as anything else anybody else comes up with.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
There's no way to follow that. I mean, that scenario. There's nowhere to go now. But I would say this, and then open it up to other people. It's the sad part about it is that, like, the news used to be a loss leader. They didn't profit in the newsroom, and now it's a profit mechanism. So there's no such thing as real news anymore. I mean, not that it's not real, not that it's not reported, not that there is or isn't an agenda, but there's a profit motive now to deliver news and to have it sensational to get people to watch. The OJ trial fed so many people, and it's all based on tragedy. I mean, think about the families who had not only had to sit inside the courthouse, but who have for years had to listen and watch and all this stuff, all the cottage industry that comes up from it. So it's just amazing what you can say what you want about America, but we are profit driven. I mean,
yeah.
And I for one, it's a good thing, but it's also not a good thing.
Yeah.
The news is no longer news only. It's more of it's a package of let me sell stuff or get people to advertise so they can sell their stuff.
Yeah.
So
right.
Debbie can't play with us tonight, but she's like, see you tomorrow at Rex's and hope to be invited to the show next week so I can join in the fun. You're always invited.
Always invited, Debbie. Always, not even a question.
And I'm very excited to be on Debbie's show tomorrow. So that's awesome.
Yay.
Nice. Very cool.
I'll have front and center backstage.
So did it all start with the OJ trial, or was there, I mean, is this been a trend that we've always been on, that we are attracted to tragedy, we're attracted to other people's pain, or we're attracted to the most absurd, which is where I'd put the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. It's almost an absurdness to it, but we're attracted to that. Why are we attracted to it?
When Cronkites Day, it was more, here's the news, here's the facts, and you decide.
Yeah.
Now the problem news is about, we've decided, we'll tell you what you need to believe.
Yeah.
So that's
and I think the other reason why people like seeing the train wreck is because they feel like their personal life is a train wreck. If they can just get outside of thinking of their own selves, they're like, get themselves enthralled in somebody else's life. So if they're not dealing with their life, they're not dealing with their situations. And then, but yet this is the other problem I see, is that when somebody's being limelighted for a situation that they have, and other people that may be able to relate to it feel like, good example, like the whole Me Too movement, women that feel like other people are judging people for not talking, what happened to them. But when they see other people that are vocalizing their opinions, other people that have been victims or, in that situation, feel like, look at how all these people are blaming women or men that have been raped. I mean, like people say, boy, if I was in that situation, they could be talking about me. They feel their shame, they feel their pain. And so they feel like they can never voice themselves. And I happen to be one of them, as far as I never felt I could voice what I've gone through, because I see how judgmental everybody else is. So, it's just like, I don't talk about, depression since little. I choose not to think of those things. And with Rex's help, with his book and the activator and all those things, it's helped me. But the point is what we think about, and what other people are talking about. Even if you're not thinking about it, you got all these other people around that are thinking or talking about it. So that just convicts you of not being authentic yourself, because you're around people that are so judgmental, because we're all judgmental. So I'm just saying there's that other side to it as well.
Well, that's an excellent point. Excellent point. The brain does look for danger. I mean, that is part of our survival mechanism, is to look for things in the outer world that is, might be perceived as a threat, and made a lot of sense when we were living in the jungles, or if you're living in an urban ward kind of environment. I mean, you want that. You always want it. In the same way that you want nerve endings in your fingertips, so if you're burning them off on a stove or not. I mean, there's a reason for this. And the heavens speak. And,
there's a call out to the show.
and to answer your question, Scott, it's always. I'll wait.
No, I'm sorry. My sister calls me and doesn't realize I'm busy. Go ahead. Anyways, I'm sorry.
I'm saying to your point, Scott, I think it's always happened. It's always been around. The difference is that now, unlike, say, even 100 years ago, or let's say 150 years ago, let's go to the Pony Express, for example. It took a while for news to get around the country.
Yeah.
Once the telegraph started, you could telegraph news across, the wires much, much faster. But otherwise, it had to be delivered by horse or stagecoach or chariot or whatever. So it took a long time. So by the time those people were over it, out of sight, out of mind. Now it's all instantaneous. Now and social media keeps it alive, and you got streaming news 24 hours a day. And I mean, it's just a different mechanism. And so this natural kind of tendency to look for it's not a negativity bias. I disagree with that premise. But this what's wrong in the universe bias.
Right.
Well, it's like that shiny object. And so if it's in front of you constantly, that's what you look at.
I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to invite Mr. Michael Wolf. I'm going to send him a message right now to see if he wants to come in. He worked in the news.
Oh, cool.
So as film and directing. So let's see if I sent you a message there, Michael, if you dare take and come on in and speak for that.
Well,
that
and
background.
I want to say, let me add this, because I hope he does come. You know, a lot of people blame the news, they blame the network, they blame the journalists. There are plenty of really good, honest, decent journalists who do a story.
Mhm.
And just the fact that it's on 3 different or multiple networks or things like that doesn't mean that it's propaganda. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean there's an agenda. There may be agendas, but there's also good people who don't have agendas. They're just doing their job, and they get put in the mix with all the other stuff that isn't cool.
Drive safe. Michael can't make it because he's driving back from a film shoot, and I say that for my podcast. So,
oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, he's an independent now and does his own media stuff. So, but anyhow, but yeah. So it's one of those things where it is true that now anybody can be a reporter. 3-year-old, 5-year-old, anybody. You give them a mic, a camera, and put them on a live wire, and we've unfortunately seen things that we shouldn't see live.
Do you remember when this happened?
Yeah. Oh, you kidding?
No, when the camera happened on the phone. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
All the networks said, "Be our reporters, shoot the video. We'll air it." I mean, it suddenly turned the average citizen into people recording everybody. And I was at a dinner party one night, and the guy said, "I think this is great." And I said, "I think it's really kind of dangerous. I mean, there's some good stuff to it, but if you don't watch it, you're going to have a lot of problems." And so, you can now record it. I mean, I go to the gym, they go, "Don't turn on your cell phones. You got to leave them off when you go." I mean, and it makes sense in the locker room.
Yeah. And they still do it, though. People still do it. Nobody's going to listen. So again, like anything else, right? There's going to be people that
anybody sees my ass at the gym. Nobody's grabbing their cameras. Nobody's thinking, "Oh, I got to get this." Nah, they're more like, "Is there some equipment I can use on the other side of the room, please?"
Well, when you got a big booty like me, everybody takes their camera out. But that's beside the point. Yes, Barry.
Finish point Rick started about that. That kid in Buffalo, he put a camera on his hat so he could actually become his own reporter of what he was doing. I mean, the insanity of that is just how bad it's gotten, is that people want to document their own crime.
Well,
so it's like that's the culture we need to shift to definitely happen.
And the thing is some of those people are wanting to do it just for fame, just to get the attention, just for the sake of nobody's paying attention to me over here. So hello.
Well, and at the same time, had there not been cameras, a very famous case of somebody kneeling on another person's neck for a long time, would probably have gone a different way.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because somebody was filming it, so, I mean, it's both, it's the tool is a blessing and a curse, and we just need to use it smart as opposed to.
I don't know what year it was. I could Google it, I guess, but I don't know what Rodney King, they pulled him out of his truck, right? But they didn't have camera. I think it was like somebody's like a building camera or something, right?
Security camera in the gas station, I think.
Yeah, or something. You know what I mean? So again, it's
91, 92.
But I'll tell you, as a parent, I got called to my daughter's school. This is a few years back. My daughter was dealing with some anger issues and dealing with a lot of things, and I got called to the principal's office because my daughter had beat the hell out of a kid at school. And while I'm sitting there in the principal's office with the security guard and my daughter says, "No, that's not what happened. I didn't do that. That's not what happened." The principal takes out his phone, goes to YouTube, and hands me his phone. And a video of my daughter beating the hell out of this girl is already on YouTube. Already on YouTube, and it's getting hit after hit after hit. Now, I'm not proud of that moment, and my daughter wasn't either. It was a low point for her, and she's much better now. But it's amazing, everything is like that. We're instantly gratified constantly. If we're not, we'll create something for our instant gratification.
It's funny you say that because not funny, but in 2006, my niece, after she had gotten married, she had a head-on collision and died, and they took her whole picture of her crashed in the car, blah blah blah, and they put it on the internet. But this 2006, my brother, who's rest in peace now, but my brother went ahead and called the newspaper and said, "Take that out," and they did it. But back now, if that would have happened, there's no way you could have got that off the internet.
Right.
So it really has changed as far as the perimeters of what gets out there and what doesn't. Everything does. So at this point, if people would be mindful that any given time people will be recording them, if we could be mindful of that, Go ahead.
The funny, Barry, we're going to say, I don't want to cut somebody off.
No.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm an actor, so I used to always think, I would walk through the world as a young actor with a camera following me. Everything was kind of like this dissociated, how do I move through the world and how do I behave if there's a camera watching me? So it's interesting what you say. On the one hand, that's great advice to say, well, what if you're being recorded? On the other hand, it's kind of like the birth of paranoia.
Well, let me just go back to the whole
Is
thing.
this a little Big Brother, possibly? A little George Orwell's 1984 going on now?
Well, the thing is like the guy kneeling on somebody else. I mean, I was a peace officer, and I was going to be a cop, and all I keep saying to myself is, listen, if I had to refrain somebody and I knew the cameras were on me, I'd act a little bit different.
You would think. I mean,
you would think. I'm just saying.
But I mean, the cops have body cams. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah.
I'll say the thing about this is that the fact we need to have that now.
Yeah.
To be the police for the police. Like we're using cameras now to police other things.
Yeah.
That's how far we slid down that slope, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that's the point that is the one worth taking. Because whether there are cameras or no cameras, it's how do you live with integrity? How do you live honestly? And so your point is the point that needs to be uttered, because we shouldn't have to be policed. We shouldn't have to be monitored. We shouldn't have to be watched, 24/7 in order to behave. That's prison.
Well,
But I think it was Mark Twain who said, "I shall do no wrong while others are looking."
Yeah.
That was Mark Twain. It goes back. Listen, George Orwell wrote about this, where everything you're doing is being watched. What he never imagined is we're installing the cameras ourselves. We are the ones that are doing it. It's not Big Brother doing it. We're doing it to ourselves.
Go ahead.
After you.
I'm just because if you want to take over the people, how much easier is it to have them willingly take themselves over by giving them some shiny object that they'll use to do the very thing you want to have done?
Exactly.
And it's just like I got a little clip that you could take clips of things, and I could take the clip that I could show right now that makes me laugh big time. But there's a part where this Rex Sykes is saying, look, I sabotaged myself. And I could use that for anything. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get the whole picture of anything. I mean, I could, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're saying, well, I'm not going to do this. And you go, I'm not going to do this. But then you go, I'm going to go ahead and blah, 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 blah. They'll cut the I'm not going to do this part out.
Right.
So again, be careful what you say and how you say it.
Yeah.
Because it can be sliced and diced.
Well, not only that, but they can put your image anywhere they want, doing anything. I mean, they could take a president and stick them in something, and now with digital photography and video, like that, you can't tell that it's manufactured. That you might, because it's a blue background. if you had a video of me creeping in behind Scott right now, you could put that in there, and you'd never know that it wasn't actually happening.
Exactly.
Barry, you were trying to get a point across before.
Yes,
what was
Barry.
it?
I was saying a couple of things. I remember it's got to be back now in the 90s in London, they put in closed circuit television, closed circuit cameras everywhere, and because they're terrorist concerns,
right?
And they're still there. But the thing is, they had such coverage; they covered everything, and now the United States is catching up in certain cities. But the thing is, based on police drama stuff like that, you hear about where they used the bank teller's ATM camera will be able to catch somebody going by. They build their case that way. But the thing about the smartphone piece, this thing about the tracking is actually kind of a joke, because we use the phones for GPS location to find the Uber rides and the other stuff, and we're saying we don't want to be tracked. It's like,
find me! I don't want to be in this bad neighborhood. I need my GPS working.
I remember I got my first iPhone in 2007 when they came out, and now the technology has shifted so far. And I look at because Facebook memory shot from like 10 years ago. The picture quality and the video quality that's gone from then to now, in another 3 or 4 years, we'll be start doing like 3D movies and stuff, or holographic movies, instead of doing what we're doing now, because the technology is going to move that fast.
Listen.
Well, somebody explain to me why I could be on a roller coaster going 95 miles an hour, and they get a perfect picture of my face. They get a perfect picture of me screaming like a little girl. But on a bank security camera, it's all fuzzy, and you can't make out it. Why is
it's
that?
the salesman,
It's about money. It's about money.
Yeah, they didn't upsell them the good camera, which is funny because at the hotel I've been gone for 2 years, and they came back and now they have this great camera. Oh, Michael said something. You want to read that, Scott?
Yeah, it says, be careful focusing on all the negatives. The content and views of being able to see what's happening in Ukraine or
Yeah.
the police violence, et cetera, et cetera. We have a choice how we use and interpret media.
Amen.
Absolutely. We're not saying it's all bad, Michael. Don't get that.
No,
Don't make
no.
that mistake.
Yeah.
What
but
we're
no, that's-
saying is it becoming a problem for individuals to become so overwhelmed with all this or so obsessed with all this that we need to see everything? Why are we watching a trial like Johnny Depp? Why are we watching it? What good does that do for people? I agree with you. There are great things. We need to know what's going on in places like the Ukraine and
it's the
people who are
diversions.
suffering.
Diversions are happening.
I guess you can't
Illusions.
have the good without the bad coming in too.
Right.
I don't know.
But this is a basic law of the universe. The universe is expanding, but it's falling apart at the same time. There's this thing called entropy.
Yes.
I mean, there is a law of reverse opposites, meaning whatever's good, there's also something that's not so good, and whatever's not so good, there's something that's good. That's just the nature of. I mean, you can look at this scientifically. So with every wonderful tool you invent, somebody will find the worst way to use it, and for every bad thing, somebody could find good in it if they were willing to. It's much harder to look for the good, it seems, than it is to find the worst. It's kind of like water sinks to its lowest level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's just go.
Power and their bombs.
But what Mike said about Ukraine and the point is, it's truly valuable to have the technology. It's just that as humans, we tend to use it for the least best purposes. We use it for porn, which might have a great reason, but the point making is, when the camera was first invented, they were taking naked pictures right off the bat. They weren't going, hey, look at the beauty of the world. They were like, let's look at naughty pictures.
Yeah.
So
porn drives technology.
And it does. I know it truly does.
Videotapes.
It needs to be my porn clear, so you suddenly got HD TV, but
Exactly.
And then that's too close for comfort.
But my just back up seconds what I said at the beginning about the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. For me, the way I kept writing it on Facebook is narcissist meets narcissist, nobody wins.
Yeah.
That's to me that's the summary of the whole thing,
Well,
So
it
there's
is
no winner.
true though. So there's a lot of diversions. I mean, look at Netflix as opposed to Hulu or Showtime or all these other things. There's all these different kinds of, shows or themes of shows and things like that. And it just, some people choose to watch crime and action, or they drama or fairy tale. Go ahead, Rex.
So I was just going to say, in olden days, we color coded things. We said there was this thing called yellow journalism, and it was bad to be, we had blue humor or blue comedy, which was bad humor. It was naughty jokes kind of thing. Nowadays, those lines, nobody codes them anymore. It just is like out there. And then,
FTC lets you now say shit, all sorts of different words now.
Look at where Carlin was when he was arrested here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
7 dirty words.
You're saying the 7 dirty words, and now everybody says them all the time. You can't necessarily say all of them on network TV, but I remember when they first passed, it was in the 90s when you could say ass on TV. It was like a big thing. Now you can get away with a shit now and then on television. Right. I mean, so it erodes.
But one of the things I want to speak to, though, is one of the diversions do explain about pornography and also about violence. We have a culture, this country in particular, where violence is okay, but sex isn't. Whereas in other countries, sex is like not like in Germany, and I think in England, full frontal nudity on a TV show was like, okay, after a certain time, it's normal. But but showing the violence and the death and the blood and guts, which is shown on like horror shows and like Stranger Things and other shows that are really dramatic that way, people watch that stuff. But naked bodies, not allowed.
Yeah, well, I'm just kind of laughing because at my hotel, we'll get some guys come down. Do you have like those rated X shows? I'm like, we're not that kind of hotel. Sorry.
Well, can I say one more thing and then I'm going to be quiet? I've been in the film business, and I've always loved violent, graphic horror effects. When they were done, not CGI, I could care less, but when they were done in the old days, and they were like rubber tubes and squeegees and different things, that you had to really try and make something look real out of things that were fake, right?
Ed Wood style.
Well, I mean, that's how a lot of it looked. But when the thing with Kurt Russell first came out, we were all like, "Oh my god!" Because it was such a move forward with special effects. But my point is, so I grew up ingesting this stuff. But the point is, we are a violent culture and a violent world and a violent country. Think of how many violent incidences children see in TV, in cartoons, in movies from the time that they're little, and then on the news, and now in their everyday lives or on social media where they're being bullied. I mean, and then people argue about us and the people and everything else, but we are propagating violence because we like violence, or we wouldn't be doing it. If we had a no tolerance for violence, it would be done.
Yep, I remember doing red dye and corn syrup for Macbeth. We did that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Making blood look like blood was interesting,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I remember listening to the story about when they did the movie Psycho with the stabbing in the shower. Now that's back when they actually knew how to make suspense and violence marry those two things together, where you don't have to see the knife sinking into the flesh to feel the effect of it, because they did those things.
So it is really messed up, because I do love action-packed movies and stuff. Terminator, you name it, I loved it. But it's funny how we think that's so cool and that's great, and then we all of a sudden are whatever. But then when it hits your backyard and you see something going on, that's not great. So like you said, go ahead, Rex.
No, I did. I lied. I said I wasn't going to speak. But before,
so nobody believed you, Rex. Nobody believed you. It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
I'm not a fan of censorship, but there was the Hayes office, that I think came around 1931 or 32 and started censoring movies. Yeah. And there was a point that up until I think it was 61. And by the way, an interesting way they got around this was in an Edward G. Robinson movie. I forget what it was, the Scarlet something. Anyway, you couldn't have a criminal get away with it. You couldn't have revenge as the end of a movie. Crime had to be punished. It had to pay. So what they did with this Edward G. Robinson movie, I don't want to spoil it, but it's an Edward G. Robinson movie. I mean, it's like from the 30s. If you haven't seen it by now, he gets away with killing someone.
Yeah,
and he gets away, he's scot-free, and you couldn't do this in the movies. So he's sitting on a park bench, and these voices are going off in his head, and he's being driven insane. So he really hasn't gotten away. It's like, even if you get away,
right,
it will come and get you. We abandoned that, I think, around 1961 or 60, where that was part of it was okay to start doing things. So in the 70s, you saw all these anti-hero, anti-villain movies come to pass, where suddenly the bad guys were getting away, and I loved it in the 70s. I thought this was great. It was new. It was novel. It was something you never saw before. But look where we are now, 50 years later.
We started romanticizing crime. We had one of my favorite films, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, with Paul Newman, and there are heroes. Warren Beatty and Bonnie and Clyde, and you keep going on, and they have movies about Dillinger and all these, and they became like they said, the anti-heroes. So Death Wish, exactly. Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well,
how things have turned,
But what do they call that? When reality, or when fiction turns reality? I forget the saying now. When life imitates, or
life imitates art, or art imitates life. It goes either way. Yeah.
Life is stranger than fiction.
Right. There you go.
Right. And so you got to wonder about some of these violent acts. If some people are doing that, I'm the anti-hero in my head. I'm the guy that's going out there, and to make a name for myself, I can go out and commit crime, but I can still. We got serial killers in prison getting love letters and proposals from people.
Mm-hmm.
The Menendez brothers killed their parents. They went to jail. They both came out of jail married.
You gotta interview my sister.
Oh, yes, I do.
My sister's a crime reporter and a journalist, and one of her friends married the Night Stalker.
Wow.
And I mean, we both knew this woman in Hollywood back in the 70s, and then it turns out she married the Night Stalker. I mean, who would have thought that?
God, if you're looking for evil to get married to, I got some exes. I'll give you the numbers.
Well,
But you don't need to go to prison.
Choose your friends wisely, though.
You know,
Yeah.
he's like, damn, maybe I need to go to prison and meet a nice lady. Michael, I keep telling we need to go out for a cup of coffee, okay?
I like Mike. He's cool. I love what
I do. I want to meet him someday in person. So, anyways, I'm going to try not to turn red.
But one of the things we're talking about, though, is same with this kid that did the thing in Buffalo, same as the one that did it in Texas, is mental health is something we don't deal with. Yeah. And the biggest challenge we have is we're still based upon this black and white, like this is the way it is, and you're screwed. What? Oh, he
says I scare him.
Scared him?
He says I scare him.
See my point, mental health.
But Barry, I mean, it's true. But the thing is if you eat crappy food all day long and unhealthy food, your body's gonna take its toll. If all you put inside your head is violence and porn and crappy thoughts and negative thoughts, it's garbage in, garbage out, and that's what's happened in our culture. I don't know what the solution is. You can't, I don't think legislating against it. I don't think censorship is the answer. It's that each individual needs to say, you know what, I'm better than this. My brain deserves better than this. My heart deserves better than this. And so do my family and my neighbors. And they have to do their own kind of policing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Bob Donnell,
Bob said at least the nice ladies marrying the prisoners have set their bar pretty low. Yeah.
Good thing.
Yeah, they definitely went for the low-hanging fruit there on the tree. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, definitely.
The cool part about it is the guys are behind bars. They don't have to worry about them doing anything.
That's
true.
Hey,
Linda, no, we're still live. Well, you didn't miss it yet. We're still live.
We're in the middle.
So yeah, but again, it's that thing of if we could check ourselves at the door. I mean, like I say to somebody, they go, "Oh my gosh," and it's funny. Like people put their cars up for sale, right? This gets me, Scott. You'll love this. They go put their car for sale and they hide their license plate number. Do you drive around hiding your license plate number when you're driving? Like,
yeah. Well, they want people to reach out to them first. They want people finding the car instead. They want to,
a little bit.
No, but I'm just still saying though, there's different ways. Go ahead.
Well, but it is a little bit different. It's one thing because it's on social media. Anybody can at that moment do a search and find out where you live or whatever. I mean, you.
But they can do it still driving and
they could. But how many people while you're driving are going to be writing down your license number? So I mean,
you got a camera. You don't even need to write it down.
I'm just saying. I agree with you, but there's an ease of use with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So now you walk into the area of stalkers, and we're getting a whole different conversation.
No, I'm just laughing because I have personalized license plates. So I'm not putting it out there unless. And Scott knows my personalized license plate, but I'm just saying. But I get it. But I'm just saying that we can't. There's a point where if you own a house. People know where your address. I mean, if you own things, if you vote, I mean, there's just different things that you can't get away. Your information's out there every which way.
Right. Yeah.
So I have an argument, and I will shut up and let you guys talk about this. Just kidding. The right to information. There used to be privacy, and there used to be all this kind of stuff, and then suddenly, like celebrities. Because they're celebrities, the laws don't protect them the same way that they're supposed to protect private citizens. Even though they're private citizens, because their career is in the public, suddenly they don't have privacy rights.
Correct.
Okay?
Right.
Now that's true about everything. Your information is on the internet, your house, your this, your that. Everything is out there. Why? I mean, who said it was okay for them to give out your information? And people buy this and sell it and move it. And, you just by being alive now, have people making money off of your information.
Yeah, databases. But that's been going on since the days that you could go look at any back National Enquirer magazine, and it's like make money from home, selling envelopes. All you do.
But in the olden days, you had to go to a courthouse, you had to pay a fee, you had to do something, you had to go through records. It's just like going to the library and looking through a card catalog.
Yeah.
You had to do the legwork. It wasn't just push a button and then have everything come up.
Yeah.
This is part of the entropy that you were talking about. This is instant access to information is such an advantage in life, and it's such a disadvantage in life.
Yes.
It is people don't know how to earn and wait for things anymore. If you
No.
can't get it at your fingertips, you don't want it anymore. And if you can get it at your fingertips, you'll take the bad over the good as long as it's faster and it's free and you can get it. So yeah, I mean, this is all part of the problem, but I want to go back to something Barry started talking about, which I think is really important, especially with everything that's going on. We've got some real negative turns in the media. We got some real negative turns in Hollywood as far as people are attracted to the violence and to this and that. Fine. But what we're not dealing with is the mental health issues that are going on out there right now.
Yes.
People are seeing people that are depressed, have anxiety at young age, children who are displaying sociopathic behaviors and even schizophrenic or schizoaffective disorder. And nobody's doing anything about it. Sometimes they don't have access to the proper health care, which the greatest country in the world, my ass. We're one of the only countries that doesn't take care of our people. We're not the greatest country. We used to be. We're not. We're not anymore. We don't take care of our people. In any other country, you start displaying those kind of mental health disorders, there's always somebody there to help you. Here, there's not. We've got to change the way we look at things. You know, we're always going to have a tendency to watch the car crash instead of watching the couple get married down the street. I'd rather watch a violent car crash because it turns me on more. But for people with mental health, we cannot allow them to walk around unfettered. We can't walk around without treatment. People need help. That's what I spend my time doing. I mean, with addictions and everything else, it's a new world. You can't just let an addict go out there and hit the streets anymore. Fentanyl's a game changer. It's killing people left and right. Number one killer of ages 18 to 45 in the country. It beat cancer, for crying out loud. This is ridiculous. We got to do something. Something has to change. Mental health, anxiety, depression, whatever it might be, and addictions. We got to deal with it now.
Well, and this is the thing, though. That
I get passionate. I apologize. Soapbox.
No,
time.
it's great. You know, what's sad about it all is that people don't feel confident sharing their sadness or what they're going through, because then they're going to be judged, or you know, they don't have anybody to vet. And that's what I love what Rex is doing. Rex is there helping so many people just realizing and facing things and thinking things a different way. And if we could respect and help people, and Rex does this all the time in Clubhouse. If you guys are going through something, I encourage you to go to Rex's room. I mean, it's just amazing. It's a mindset that can help people even in, well, you know, you teach NLP, you know how through recovery to reach people where they know you feel them, you hear them. They would need to be seen, but not treated like all of a sudden you're going into the hospital and you're going to never come out again. You know, when people feel that that's the solution, that they're going to be locked up, nobody wants to talk. I'm just being honest here. You know,
the point is though, somebody always knows. I'm going to tell you right now, the kid in Texas, somebody knew he was in danger zone.
And nobody,
the kid in Sandy Hook and down here in Marjorie Stoneham Douglas, the school down here with the kids who got shot. Yeah. Somebody knew, people knew. And when after it was over, they said, yeah, he was always a little somebody knew, and they didn't do anything. People aren't taking care of their brothers, their sisters, their neighbors anymore. Yeah. That's the biggest loss we have in this country, is that we have so much access to information. We don't have to share with our neighbors. We don't have to interact. We don't have to help other people. I can get everything I want on this little goddamn thing sitting in my living room and never have to leave and not help anybody. We need to be helping people.
I so agree with you. That was so well put. I'm going to make a statement that I know there's going to be people are going to get. Did you like that? I go.
Make sure you do the glasses thing when you do it, because that'll make the point better. There we go.
Oh, yeah. So the thing, Barry, your turn.
I've already seen this one for you. This one's harder to do.
Yeah, harder to do. I get the issue is everything's become politicized in our country. You know, if you don't report the news, then people say you don't care. If you do report the news, they over-report the news. There's got to be a way of going, you know what? Let's take the name of the person out. Let's not glorify them in any way. Let's announce it and then move on, without it being something, you know, in other words, this happened today, it's terrible, we'll update you as necessary, as opposed to when anything happens, it suddenly becomes this 24 our news cycle that goes on for days and days and days, and that feeds into it. We are a violent nature country, and I'm going to say this, and no one's going to like this. Is where they're going to be. I believe it's because we have these predatory capitalistic notions that you can crush your competition and get away with it, and that you are top dog, and you have a right to profit, and you can do what I mean. And the reason I say, not that I'm pushing anything else, but we have forgotten collaboration and cooperation and compassion in favor of, I can have that house because that person has it and they don't have it and I don't like it. I'm going to figure out a way to do it, and everything is me. And it was thankful to Edward Bernays, Freud's nephew, for creating a lot of this mess, back when. But the point is, we've been literally brainwashed to be violent. We've been literally brainwashed to not care about people. Now we hate immigrants. Now we hate the welfare people. Now we hate all these people, and who do we praise? The people with the rich money who are taking all the taxes, and it's just moving straight up to the top, and the people are suffering. And then the people at the top go, you guys all want our money. We're not going to give you any. And I mean, it's this cycle of constantly blame and accusations.
There's two things on that. One, speaking to someone directly, there's definitely an awareness I've had, and I've been watching some videos on YouTube talk about this, where there are the people who are rich and powerful are pointing to the ones lesser than us, so we can judge them, not the people above us. So It's a downhill for the judgment plea. So the immigrants, the ones who are gay, the women versus the men, it's like this division separation. Whereas truth is, it's strength in numbers. When we come together, we're stronger together. And again, like brothers and sisters, like you're saying, Scott. But the other part of the puzzle, which I want to talk about, or at least put on the table, is what's happening recently with the shootings with these kids, 18 years old. And because, yes, if there are other people, their peers are aware of it, their fellow students are aware of it, we have got a missing link in the school system where we don't raise the bar for self-awareness, for mental acuity, mental awareness, and for having collaboration with each other. The arts and music in schools, which have been taken out, is part of the challenge. And it sounds so simplistic, but if we had more creative expression for the kids, they start connecting more with each other, creative projects together. Instead of being all combative and winning against the others, we could play together and learn together. And that's where we change everything.
Great point.
Not only do they take that out, they take out gym, they take out recess, they take out good, food, and then they expect these kids to sit for 6 hours, 9 hours straight. And if they fidget, they then say, well, they've got ADHD or they've got a behavioral disorder, so we should medicate them. Instead of adjusting the system and saying, you know what, we're raising a group of, essentially broken people because our system. But I think what you said moments ago is, and that's why I used the word politicize. As long as you can fight over here, you'll never know what's going on up there.
Exactly.
So as long as you're distracted, as long as they're pointing fingers at everybody this way, let me close that thought of mine with something about Napoleon Hill that for many years I didn't appreciate. But Napoleon Hill said that one of the greatest masterminds was the coming together for the Constitution of the United States and the founding of America. And I used to think, oh, what hogwash, what bullcrap, whatever. Here were all these rich English people who fled England because they didn't want taxation. They got to this country, they were wealthy slave owners, and they created a country that was not necessarily meant for everyone except for them. Right. Yet, in spite of those flaws, what Hill points out is that these people came together, crafted a document, and then signed the document. They had to fight a war and everything else first, but they got, at the point of death, they crafted this document, the Declaration of Independence. They united some colonies, and we created a constitution, and everybody was working in harmony to create a new country. Mm-hmm. And so they had one vision of united colonies and then United States, and then we incorporate. And today we don't have one vision or one thought of harmony. We're all divided. We hate each other. We hate each state. We're talking about secession. It's red versus blue. It's them versus us. It's the have versus that. So we're not united anymore in any way. And that's being perpetuated by this media channel and that media channel and this politician and that politician and this church and that. I mean, until we learn how to reunite as a people, not as a country, but as a world.
Yeah.
And start helping each other. And Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Until you're that change, Why
Right.
would you expect the world to change? If you're on a diet of porn and violence and all the crap that we've been talking about, how are you going to change?
Right.
True.
So-
Absolutely.
Love
It starts with each individual. Now, the time you're talking about, Rex, I had to rely on the people who live next door to me if I was going to build a house.
Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't call Bob the builder to come over and build me a mansion. I had to get my neighbors together. I had to get somebody to help me lift a log into place. And people knew together we build, and divided we can't build.
Yeah.
And that
neither
was
we saw.
that was our culture. The problem is, as technology grew, we no longer had to think that way. Now it's a press of a button. I get somebody to come to my house to deliver my groceries. I don't have to leave my house to do that. I don't have to interact with people. I don't have to bother with people. And we suffer from the one thing that makes America great is the one thing that really tears it apart, which is the melting pot idea of all these cultures coming together. Without a universal culture, we end up lost, and we end up sitting in judgment of our neighbors instead of saying we share this ancestry, we share this culture. There's Asian countries and there's countries in Europe that have had a culture, even though it's changed slightly and things have changed and governments have changed. There's still a cultural heritage that everybody shares. We don't have that to draw us together, so we got to make the effort to keep us together, and nobody does it anymore. Nobody does it anymore.
And you know
I
what's-
love how you brought that up, Rex. That is beautiful because
And you-
at the beginning we were all in the same boat. We all had to row together. Now everybody's got their own jet ski. Nobody gives a shit what anybody else does.
But isn't it all sad though at the end of the day that we all have to unite from sadness instead of being happy? We're sad as a nation for loss of children. Like, couldn't we appreciate children and love everybody and say thank God today, you know, we're not less people from violence. We cannot, where focus is, you know, after the fact, we don't get those kids back. We don't get to say nothing. And then nobody, so that just ticks me off because
There's no greater unifier than righteous indignation. I'm telling you right now, it is the greatest unifier there is. If we can all be mad at the same person, we're unified. That's why you got a lot of politicians that spend time saying they're the evil ones.
Yeah.
And if they all unite in hating the same person, boom, then you've got a crowd.
It all ends up being a diversion tactics and diversion and diversity. And
Barry, I got to apologize too. Last show I said that you had a Jersey accent. I know that was probably offensive because I now figured out it's South Georgia. So I figured it out now. So
I was going to say something, you know, at least this was Staten Island. I'm okay with that, you know.
there you go.
Hey, I was on Long Island, so we're good.
Long Island.
You meant
Long
Georgia
Island.
on the other side of the pond.
Right.
Yeah.
Different Jersey.
New Jersey. Jersey.
Crazy.
Jersey. It's Jersey.
Jersey.
Anyways, this has been a really good talk today, you guys. Again, this show with Lynn and Scott is as we see it, as we all see it. There, we all have opinions and thoughts, but if we could just have communication like this more often, and people can see that you can, you know, be divided but be united. We can all have our opinions. We all see a glass from a different angle based on where you're sitting, or when you're in the theater and you're sitting in different, you know, seats. It's just a matter of perspective. But the thing is, you know, it's such a double-edged sword on how things. Go ahead, Rex. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
But I will say something now that you opened it up.
Go ahead. Go for it. No, yeah.
There he is.
We have to see what you did. We have to learn that we're all on the same rock going around the sun at like 60,000 miles an hour, and none of us are getting out alive. And if we want to have a good life, it doesn't have to be that we make everybody else sacrifice theirs. Because when you do that, I mean, look what's happening. Even the uber rich are, you know, digging tunnels to live underground in case bad things happen and to protect them from, you know what I mean? I mean, why would you want to live like that? You know, or Elon Musk, who was it? It was Bill Maher said, the smartest men in the world, Bezos and Musk and
Bezos.
Bezos, not Bezos.
Bezos.
He's not in the top smart people.
No, the Virgin Atlantic and Sir Richard
Branson.
Smartest people in the world are all trying to get off the planet.
I had lunch with Richard Branson one day.
Okay.
I was in a cafe, and it was down in Los Alamos and down here in Florida. And I'm sitting there, and Richard Branson comes in with a group of people, and he sits at the table next to me. I'm here. He's right next to me. And I'm thinking, like, I got to say something. I love Richard Branson. And all I could say is, hey, we ordered the same thing. He moved tables. Because
why.
I said we both got a tuna melt, and I thought that was going to bond us forever. It didn't work.
No, he probably heard, and this is a running joke, but he probably heard that you paint dead people. So
No, what's something about is about differing viewpoints. There's a story I remember hearing years ago, and I've heard it many times about the 4 monks and the elephant.
Yeah.
About how, 4 blind monks and the elephant.
Yeah.
That story. The idea being is that basically because each one of them touches a different part of the elephant. One thinks it's a tree because it touches the leg. One thinks it's some sort of big plant because it touches the ear. One thinks it's a snake because it's like the nose or the trunk. And the recognition is it's all the same thing, but we don't see it the same way. Right. But if we're willing to be looking through the lens like somebody else looks at, like seeing the other person's perspective, one person sees a 6, one person sees a 9, depending on the angle you're looking at the number.
Exactly.
So when we shift our viewpoint and like walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, so to speak, if we're willing to do that as an experiment, then what? We can actually change things. So
absolutely.
Well, Scott, I'm glad we didn't call our show 3-Eat a Monkey or something like that. But anyhow, I think on that note we should get going.
I think everybody should have a final closing thought.
Yes.
We've talked about a lot of things, and it did lean a little bit towards the negativity of some of the things that are going on right now and the problems that we're facing. So it would be really cool if everybody could leave people with a positive note about something that's good or something people can do, or how do we start to heal, and maybe everybody share a moment on that, and that'll be a better way to end it, I think. So why don't we start with you, Rex, because you're always ready.
Howard Beale said in Network, go to your windows and yell, "I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore."
I love that.
But innovation comes from discomfort and from hardship. We have cooling systems because it was too hot in places. We have shoes because it was too difficult to walk on our feet all the time. We wore clothes in order to shelter us from cold or for the elements. So when there's difficulty, when there's hardship, when there's divide, it's an opportunity to not focus on that, but to say, what do we want to build and build better? What do we want to make? How do we want to improve this? What kind of life do we actually want to live? If you're mad as hell, you don't want to stay mad. You want to get away from the madness. So the only way you can do that is to aim at what you want. It's easy to destroy a house. It's harder to build a house, but you have to know what you want to build in order to actually make it happen. And if you don't have a plan for what you want to build, you'll just wallow forever. And we need a vision. We need a united vision worldwide to say, you know what? We're on this rock together. We're all one species. If we're going to get along and survive it, long past our turn on this planet, we need to do something to make the world better for everyone today. And that starts here with each of us.
Excellent.
Oh, Rex, he brought it home.
Very easy to follow that. Go ahead.
No pressure. No pressure.
I was actually going to say, following from what I said earlier about that the way the 4 blind monks is, what if we did find someone that didn't see things the way we did and find out how they see the lens, how they see things, just to get a different perspective. Because not saying that we're not right, but what if they're right as well? So experiment.
Absolutely. Lynn?
Well, this is why you and I started this as we see it. As I see it, having all our friends come together, and I'm honored when they show their presence here with us. I hope that we all resonate with someone out there, because like Bob Donnell said, we can all present the same speech, but it's going to touch people different ways. And so if we could just take a moment today and realize that any day, any time, everything can be taken away. The only moment we have is right now. Appreciate and show more gratitude. If we have more gratitude in our heart, we can see all the other people that are hurting and show and love them and be compassionate. We need more compassion in this world. We need more to just reach out by being human and listening to other people. And I've learned so much of that with NLP and with Rex, and just Rex as a whole. We're perfect the way we are, but we do need this whole big thing of just take a moment and try to understand it from somebody else's point of view, because if you do, then maybe you find a little bit more grace and humility to know that we're all in this together. Like Rex says, we're all, nobody gets out of this alive. I don't care how much money you have. We all breathe and eat. I mean, it's just the same thing. So you want to read this real quick and then go ahead, Scott?
Thanks, everyone. We need to tell the truth and not be afraid to talk, starting with the children of our next generation. Absolutely.
Thank you, Sandra, for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you, Laura. And Scott, so go ahead.
Everything starts with one conversation you need to have with one person, and one person who is more responsible for everything that's wrong in this world than anyone else. It's the person in the mirror that you're looking at. We all get self-righteous. We all get indignant. We all get everything sucks. But what did I do to make it better today? What did I do to make not only my life better, but the life of the people that I'm affected by? When's the last time I put my phone down in the checkout line and just said something nice to the person who's ringing out my groceries and spread something better than what I see everywhere else? If everybody takes responsibility and says, I can't change the world, but I can change the circle that I live in. And if I do that and I share that circle with enough people, things change. But again, it doesn't start by me looking for somebody to blame or pointing at a politician or deciding that Freud was right or wrong. It starts with a simple conversation with the person in the mirror. Did you make your world better today? And what did you do for someone else? That's all you got to do. If we have enough people doing that, the world can change. The world can change.
I love it. And thank you, Rex, for being here. Rex will be on tomorrow night. And Barry, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. This is just becoming a great place. I love Tuesday nights to see how everybody sees it. As we see it, as we do love, and we want to just be able to spread that. And I thank Rex so much for just being a mentor and a friend, and he gives so much. So look up Rex. Go to Amazon right now. Just put his name in, Rex Sykes, and get his book. He also even gives a free the course alone will change your life. I mean, it just some things that you'll tweak about knowing that you don't ever know everything. And it's just an amazing thing. But again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
God bless you guys.
Bye.
Keeping me